What's going on, people? It's your man the YB back once again. So Conor Benn was in a fight last night with a man called Peter Dobson. I ain't gonna lie to you, it's not looking too great for Conor Benn right now. He had another unanimous decision points win over. Let's check this guy out right now. Conor Benn, box rec. End of the day, people. I'm gonna call a spade here. I'm off topic regarding the actual fight reaction, but I ain't want to talk about the fight reaction. The fight was against a random ass dude, fact. Conor Benn, before his murky situation with the PEDs, was smoking decent level fighters, right? He was smoking Algieri. Chris Algieri was a solid dude. Hasn't been chinned by everyone. Pacquiao put him down 7 times, I believe, but could he stop him? I'm not sure. Let's check it out. Let's have a look now. I think Pacquiao did actually stop Algieri. Either way, Algieri was solid as far as being solid. Oh, no, he didn't. That's the point I'm making. Look. So Manny Pacquiao fought Chris Algieri and he put him down 7 times or 6 times but couldn't stop him. And Mir Khan fought Algieri, couldn't stop him. Spence stopped him. And that's the crazy thing. Spence stopped him, but it was a TKO. Conor Benn knocked him spark out. Yeah, oh, well, Chris Algieri's getting older. Call it what you want. Conor Benn then fought other people who are from solid stock and stopped them in devastating fashion. That little run he had, Conor Benn had a nice little run going on where he stopped Algieri. He stopped some, I think he's South African Donny, I'm not sure. Either way, this was all during the period where things were looking a little sus for Conor Benn. This is through the period, the allegations are, I don't know, I wasn't there, he was juicing. That's it, Chris Van Heerden. Chris Van Heerden's the other one. So he smokes, he's smoking quite a few people. Listen, look, he smokes Fornella. Sorry, he didn't smoke Fornella. He smokes Vargas. He smokes Chris Algieri. He smokes Chris Van Heerden, who at that point hadn't been knocked out a whole bunch. In fact, let's check it out right now. Let's see how much Chris Van Heerden had been knocked out. Yeah? It wasn't much. He only had 2 losses. Conor Benn goes in there and blew him out, blew his back out in round 2. The point is, people, here we go. So Conor Benn knocked him out in round 2. Chris Van Heerden, yeah, look, classic people, look, classic. So Chris Algieri gets stopped by Errol Spence, TKO. Conor Benn knocks him out. Errol Spence, the only other man to stop Chris Van Heerden, is Errol Spence in 8 rounds. Conor Benn goes in there, smokes him in 2 rounds. So, you know, come on, people, stop. It's just some things just smell fishy, don't they? And I said specifically, I don't know. I'm not. When I hear about these juice allegations, I'm very skeptical of juice allegations. For me, there's too many now. Everyone popping. I don't believe everyone popping. I believe there's some genuine mistakes, there's some genuinely guilty, and there's some that VADA are just doing way too much with. However, I concluded that time will tell in the future whether Conor Benn was juiced or not. What time? Well, my man's smoking people who other top... Errol Spence couldn't smoke Algieri like Conor Benn did. Errol Spence couldn't smoke Chris Van Heerden like Conor Benn did. So I wanted to see, I said, listen, if Conor Benn comes back and fights similar level opposition and KOs them in the same devastating fashion, he probably wasn't juiced. However, what do we know? Conor Benn's come back against Rodolfo or Corzo and went 12 rounds with a guy. Yeah? I never heard of Rodolfo in a day of my life. I have not heard of Rodolfo or Corzo a day of my life. But we can't let it slide. Conor Benn said, well, or Eddie Hearn said, well, he's been inactive. Conor Benn's had a lot to go through. He's been inactive, this, that, the other, blah, 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 rambling on, etc., etc. Conor Benn couldn't stop him all of a sudden. Now, to be fair to Rodolfo, he hasn't been stopped before. Still. Conor Benn was in there lighting dudes up, right? And this guy's a once two-star rank. He then goes in there with Peter Dobson, who is undefeated. However, whilst being undefeated, let's see what Peter Dobson's done. I've never heard of him a day in my life. That don't mean much, I'm a casual, but still, what's he done? Let's see who this guy's beat. Never heard of any of these guys. Never heard of not even one of these guys. So Conor Benn's going in there with random guys on 2 days' notice. That Rodolfo cat, it was like 3 days' notice. This cat here, I'm pretty sure it was short notice. And the last time he fought, wow, it was damn near 18 months ago. The last time this cat fought, yeah, Peter Dobson was 18 months ago. 18 months ago, he goes in there with Conor Benn. He loses every round, but Conor Benn, he's lacking that. There's a number of things Conor Benn was lacking in this fight, and in the Rodolfo fight. He was lacking that. It reminded me of Vitor Belfort. Vitor Belfort was a prolific juicer. Yeah, he was juiced out of his mind, pumped to the gills in the UFC. And when he was juiced off the TRT, his chin was solid, his aggression was solid, his power was solid. Anyway, Jeff Nowitzki comes in for the UFC and clears all the game up for VADA. Clears all UFC up. Next thing you know, Vitor Belfort can't hold a shot, he can't punch, and he has no aggression. Conor Benn comes in there, smoking Algieri, smoking Chris Van Heerden, and then has to clean up his game. All of a sudden, it's the intricacies here. His shots aren't having the same effect. He is not as aggressive. Watch the fights back. In the Algieri fight and the Van Heerden fight, which are categorically, in my opinion, harder than his last two fights, or should have been, Conor Benn was storming Norman, storming the beaches of Normandy. Not a back step. Straight on it like Sonic, he was. Wading in. No regard for what was coming back, like Vitor Belfort. That's what the steads will do. Just have you tweaking. It's a bit like trying to fight someone who after methamphetamines. Yeah? If you're after crank, if you've flown out to Missouri and you're off that crank, you're off the ice, you're off the Breaking Bad, you ain't nothing stopping you. You're coming straight forward. Conor Benn was like that. He coming straight forward, he wading in, no regard for what's coming back, landing heavy shots, banging, rolling, all forward. In his last two fights though, all of a sudden he politicking. All of a sudden I see him on the ropes. All of a sudden he the one backing up. It's sceptical people. Is it definitive proof he was juicing? No, but it's not a good look. Especially when we know history. We know that's the effects of when you come off. When you come off, you're flat. You're not as thirsty for the fade. You're not as confident. Yeah? This isn't just physiological, it's psychological. Knowing you've got an edge. I know I've got an edge because Dr. Al-Shabaab, the doctor that Conor Benn was working with, his name was Dr. Al-Shabaab. Yeah? And Dr. Al-Shabaab was on video saying, yeah, we got this, I can beat VADA, I can beat UCAD because I know this, that, the other. He then deleted his Instagram page. Fact, Dr. Al-Shabaab. Yeah? So, when you know you've got Dr. Al-Shabaab patterning you up with all the different gear and whatnot, you go into the ring with a different type of confidence. I know I'm bad. I know I'm fixing to cut through Chris Algieri and Chris Van Heerden like a hot knife through butter. Do you understand? Anywho, these fights are irrelevant. I'm not interested. I've heard on the grapevine that Chris Eubank Jr. doesn't want to fight Conor Benn. I don't know why. That fight at once, Chris Sr. said, the fight can't happen at 160. I don't see why not. Eubank fought Liam Smith at 160 and looked his best ever. Eubank under Terence Crawford's trainer looked the best I've ever seen him by miles. And I think, why not? Now, allegedly Chris Eubank Jr. is saying that it's about principle, he's not fighting a juicer or whatever. F that. This is a sweet fight. Conor Benn will get smoked by Chris Eubank Jr. And I hate to say that because you know what my betting record's like. It's not looking good. Do you know what I'm saying? But I can't lie to myself. I'm telling you, Chris Eubank Jr. smokes on that Conor Benn pack. May even stop him because he won't have to chin. We know this, people. Conor Benn was in there with some French Donny, Paynaud, getting chinned. Random journeyman Donny was chinning him. All of a sudden he's storming Norman D-Day. Come on now, stop. Again, I don't know, I wasn't there. I'm just telling you the circumstantial evidence here. Time will tell though. Let's see Conor Benn step up. Let's see Conor Benn in there with Jaron Ennis. Let's see Conor Benn in there with a Keith Thurman kind of cat. Let's see him in there with even an old ass Manny Pacquiao. Let's see him in there with someone who can do something. Because these guys right now, they're B-sides, right? They're turning up to lose. I want to see Conor Benn in there with a fighter coming to win. And Conor Benn's a big money name. I'm pretty sure Jaron Ennis and no one trying to fight him. He would come over to fight. I don't even rate Ennis, but he would come over to fight Conor Benn. Conor Benn has the clout. So the question now, why are these fights not happening? Either way though, Eubank Jr., he'd tear that ass up. Anyone else at 147? I think you've got Stanley Onis, you've got a few different cats there at 147. Conor Benn should be calling for them. He's had a few warm-ups now. It needs to be Eubank Jr., if not a top guy. No more of these random fights where he's got an excuse kind of. In fact, I'm not even sure what his excuse is. What is Conor Benn's excuse not for stopping these guys? Don't get me wrong. It's hard at the 147-pound division to stop people. Unless you're Terence Crawford. But if you're going to be going distance, you might as well be doing so with top competition, right? At this stage, what's Conor Benn waiting for now? I don't know. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Smash the like button, subscribe, and let off the bell. But yeah, the fight was underwhelming to say the least. And before I go, big shout out to my doggy, Big Wes, for coming through and boosting up the coin. Respect, General, 100%, no doubt.